our new butter mascot. Would you like some delicious golden boy butter, freshly milked? Well, or I don't know, freshly curdled, freshly congealed.
You churn butter. You don't milk a butter.
Oh yeah,
You churn it.
that's not how
you
butter
milk the
works.
milk.
Milk the milk, churn the milk into the butter.
Yeah.
But anyway, look, I don't know, just art direction wise.
Yeah.
He looks like he's a butter mascot.
Yeah.
You know, you got Golden Cow. Anyway.
Yeah. So the
Anyway,
yeah,
to be more serious about it, we got the new Arbiter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, the reason I fired this into this was just a little quick thing, which is to say, it's so easy to get caught in the fact that no one cares about the Arbiter, and no one cares about Pelagos, and all these characters are vapid and they've no like involvement, no character development, no one cares. But you have to look for, you can't just get caught up. I have to look. The cinematic was really nice. It was really, like, technically, it was fairly well done. There's okay. Maybe not technically
The
from
facial
maybe not from
expression.
a filmmaking stuff.
Okay, I guess what I would say is it is a really nice step forward. It is great to see better lip sync and all of that stuff in these characters. However, some of the facial posing is just janky. It is extremely clear that they are not working with I don't know. It feels like this stuff has been hacked into World of Warcraft rather than they're there with like a great animation system.
Oh yeah, no.
One thing I did notice though, depth of field.
Yeah, that's kind of the stuff I mean. Where it's like the fact that they actually went to the effort of making the hug work.
Yeah,
they can now do that for stuff, which is a step ahead of things. And the depth of field stuff is really, really nice. And that I tend not to pay a super amount of attention to this, but I was watching, I was going, man, that is technically more impressive than anything I expected out of World of Warcraft. And I was like, man, if we can, because basically the way I'm thinking about this stuff is, from like the player perspective, I'm thinking, what can we have that's good? And none of this context is good, but the content technically is okay. Like, if these were characters we gave a shit about and liked, and the story moment becoming the Arbiter was a good one, in the same way, Martha's becoming the Lich King was putting on the helmet and taking up the role that was needed, or like Bolvar taking up the role Lich King more specifically, taking up the role that's needed. If we had this, but it was Bolvar taking on this role and Talia came in for a hug, and we'd had expansions of those talking and stuff like that, that would be really cool, and they would be able to do it now.
Yes.
So if the narrative of the next expansion or so can get good, and it actually involve players in a way that we care about any of this, then this stuff could be very good.
So, right, I don't want to just go in and frame fuck them and all that, but I do have
I
have numerous things to talk about here.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you become friends with animators and you hire animators and you start listening to what animators say in animation circles about animation. So, here's the thing. World of Warcraft's modern art style, so post-WoD, is very exaggerated, very goofy.
Yes, very.
Now, that's because you're viewing all this shit from really far away. And it's a little bit like how, theater actors, like imagine a theater-only actor and it's their first time really close up. And, maybe they'll seem like a little bit exaggerated versus like a television actor who's just, very used to always having camera up in their face. WoW is designed to be viewed from a distance. Its animations are exaggerated to be viewed from a distance. Now, there are some silly people who will pause an animation and be like, look at this squash and stretch. This is terrible. No, you need smear. Oh my God. Anyway, just some things. I think the weight of Clea's walk is just, basically, she's very constipated. Very constipated walk. But what I'd say here is like it's like simultaneously weighty and stiff. Yeah. It's like there's not enough bones or something. I'm very confused by it. Mm-hmm. And it totally looks like they're doing their best with kind of messed up stuff. And it could also just be the way the Kyrians are, makes her expressions look weird. But the way it feels really stiff and weird. Yeah. I can see all of the different bits moving, but they don't feel cohesive to me. I don't know what it is. There's just something, and it gets more effective here when it's further away. When you push in too close, it feels weird to me. Mm-hmm. It's like it's not quite there.
Yeah.
And I think it also, for me, doesn't help that I am not going to say that this is down to the acting skill of the actor who portrays Pelagos. I will say that this is a direction issue, but this is the one actor whose voicing I dislike the most in the game.
I agree.
It's so stiff. It's so stiff, and the cadence is always the same. I don't know what it is. So, I mean, fucking hell.
Very Disney.
Animating to that delivery, I think that's probably just going to make it seem stiff and terrible anyway. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what it is with Pelagos, but like Clea just sounds so infinitely more human than Pelagos. And like compare like Pelagos' cadence to like Atelier. Yeah. Where like that's a great vocal performance. And I'm not saying Pelagos and Atelier have to speak the same, not at all. But why does he speak so strange?
Yeah.
And he's spoken weird for so long.
Oh, he sounds like a Pizza Hut training video.
Yeah. Like, what is it? I don't know what it is. Now, a lot of what you said, Matt's completely right. Like that. Like the way that it's like she throws her eyes. It looks like she's throwing her eyes up to heaven, like, oh, I'm going to give you a hug.
Yeah.
And that's not what their intent is. And like the way... It's like there's no follow through in the motion from the bottom half of her body to the top half of her body. It's...
Yeah.
It honestly, it sets me off in so many different ways.
Yeah.
I really struggle to watch it.
Yeah, but
it completely pulls me out of the scene.
Yeah, but you're the person who looks for this stuff very specifically. You're not the average player in this regard. I think in terms of
that's true.
In terms of what the average player will experience out of this is substantially better than anything they've done before.
To me, basically,
I don't want to shoot them in the head.
Okay,
for not being perfect when they're. No, I don't want to say when they're trying, but when they are genuinely making leaps and bounds, it made that cinematic feel very impressive to me. And thinking about what we had in the past, if we had some of the stuff we had from Warlord, some of the stuff we had from Wrath, some of the stuff we had from Mists, if we had that in this stuff, it would have felt a lot better.
Yes, but to me, it was so uncanny valley, I struggled to watch it. And it is not the fault of the animators. I'm fairly sure it's the fault of tools and workflow.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm going to give them a little bit of credit because you know they are working in a game from 2004. No matter what they say, in terms of all the stuff, it's very clear this is completely scuffed. That they can't they can't just do it properly without spending 500 million in rebuilding the game.
Yeah, it's got nothing in like especially Shadowbringers Onward.
Of course, yeah.
Now, like the little depth of field pull, like that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
You know, some of these things can work better, and like you can tell like this is the shot where they spent all their time.
Yeah.
Because of course they know it's a close up. So it's also the Kyrians are really shiny.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone realized just how shiny Kyrians are before this.
Greasy like.
I was going to go with like metal and shiny. Okay, we could go with greasy. They're all buttered up. Sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, then Pelagos just decides, right, it's time to become a robot.
Yep. Cool.
And he turns into
Butter Boy.
It's so look. I don't know what it is. I think Pelagos looks fucking preposterous. I don't know what it is. This design doesn't work for me. I think it's a thing of weight. It's like there's just this central Pelagos tube. And with the Arbiter, it made sense because it was like that with a robot head.
Yeah.
But when you just put like a dude's head on it, it's like...
Yeah, it's like this is going to sound completely insane, but like the kind of hip area there looks like it hasn't changed very much.
Yeah.
So it looks almost like he's on stilts.
I know.
Like he's standing inside the robot chassis as opposed to it being all of him.
It's like you put a big Lego minifig onto a chicken goujon. Okay, that's a bit ridiculous. But you know what I mean? It's like there's this central tube and then a head. Yeah. I think it looks weird. I don't know. I think it's a really funky design. Okay, look, Matt, I'll give it to you. Yeah. I admit, they're pushing it forward.
Yes.
This is just peak teething pains. And perhaps maybe if they are making these models for the new expansion from scratch, and you know, the way the bones are, the way they're just the way that they're rigged and their pipeline, their tools, you know, they'll have probably another iteration cycle of tools development. Maybe this is a bit like this is the Hildebrand quests. The FF team would like try to push their tech forward, or you know, push the capabilities a little bit, and then you kind of see the next expansion. Oh, you can sort of see the experimenter thing, and now it's here. So maybe it's that. And if we can get a whole expansion of the things looking like the next version of this.
Yes.
And perhaps with models and stuff that were made with this in mind, which I would imagine would make the animators' lives a hell of a lot easier because they would actually, you know, they would have a rig to animate that's maybe a bit more to that purpose, then, you know, would be better.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
But I guess because I'm used to looking at this stuff pretty closely nowadays, I guess it invokes Uncanny Valley for me quite easily.
Yeah, I mean, I like to try to give them credit in the same way I give them credit for how, in so many ways, all the stuff we talked about at the start of the stream with the season 4, the raid plus, or the raid, not raid plus, I shouldn't say raid plus, the raid affix and how they're going to bring Warlords Dungeons M plus, they are going to shit the bed on that. But at least they're trying for a change.
Yes.
And you can't, you know, sometimes the bed just has to be shot before you learn how to control your balls.
Oh my god!
I don't know where I'm going with this, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
you have to be shit at something to then be good at it eventually, and at least organizationally they're willing to be shit at stuff like this and kind of push it forward a little bit. I think.
I mean, they've been willing to have goofy shit since. You remember in Legion when it would just be flat out a character going,
yeah,
and then a voice is just playing.
Yeah, now they're sort of trying.
Now they're trying.
Better, yeah. And I mean, imagine Legion, but they're trying a bit more here.
Yeah. I think they're just held back by some aspects of how they're set up, and hopefully that's better. I suppose, all right, look, the version of this that's 25%, but that's totally arbitrary.
He just made up numbers.
The version of this that is not transformationally better, but that is a good chunk better, combined with a good story, will work, and could probably mean that, you know, more moments feel like these moments, and these are expensive. You know, doing those, right? It takes a lot more work. But yeah, so look, it's going in the right direction. Absolutely. I guess I just got funked up. But certainly if you're trying out your new tech, you know, and it's like, what's the scene you have to do? And it's a close personal character moment. Like that must be maximum fear territory. If you have to animate that. Yeah.
Dude.
So there you go. I guess it's like, it could have been, if the story wasn't lame and we cared about it, then sure.
Yeah,
it's just
that's exactly it, yeah.
I can see a universe where Pelagos is a good character. It's just not this one. Because he's just kind of pathetic and annoying for a long time. And it's like, if you saw him build up through that journey, it would have been way better. But there's just not enough time with that. And it's just constantly the same thing. They just don't have enough time with their characters. And then they have that Joss Whedon problem.
Oh, I hate the Joss Whedon problem.
All of their characters... Oh yeah, the Joss Whedon problem where they're rampant... No.
I wish Joss Whedon was never born.
Wow. Yeah, by the way, right, in light of all the new Joss Whedon stuff, go and rewatch Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog again, and it's like,
Or don't. Do something good instead. Do something productive. Go for a walk. Meditate.
Okay.
Read a book. Play a game you like. Just stare into the cold abyss. Anything.
Get high as fuck. And watch Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog and realize that Neil Patrick Harris's character is totally just a self-insert for Joss Whedon being a weird fucking creep, and it's very funny. But
we do not condone the use of any drugs, legal or illegal at all.
Thank you for that helpful statement.
Said we don't condone.
I'm glad that we're in the clear. But that thing with Joss Whedon where it's like, his characters are all talking the same. Mm-hmm. The only way his characters feel different is when an actor tries. And it's just that thing in the Shadowlands where it's like there's some nice natural sounding dialogue between characters and quests.
Yeah.
But whenever it comes into some of those like cutscene-y things, whenever it comes into like... it's like the Thrall Draka stuff felt a bit better. The Bowl of Artalia stuff felt a bit better.
Yep,
but then it's like, you know, the way Bane is just like, for the Shadowlands. And there's all that stuff where it all sounds the same.
Mawwalker, my friend.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, even the amount of maw walking that happened in this campaign step where it's like, no, I know you. I've known you for ages. You could just say, hey, solve that. Instead of, Mawwalker, you must solve this problem so that they won't do that. And it's like, fuck me, sideways. You can write knowing that there's context. That we're here with these characters so they don't have to speak to us so artificially and slowly and weird.
Yeah. Mawwalker, by the way, my name is Pelagos and I've done all of this. Now let's get to what we're here for.
Right. Here's the biggest fucking thing. Writing dialogue. And I guess helps because the big strength Thomas has as a dialogue writer, and certainly this is the thing that I noticed when watching the plays that he wrote with Aaron, it's the rhythm and the musicality of dialogue, the cadence of speech.
Also of everything else, but definitely dialogue.
Like, that is so important in dialogue, and Blizzard's dialogue. Okay, whenever it's like, you know, you find out, oh, Christy Golden wrote that cinematic or that cutscene, it's like, oh, obviously, the characters sound like themselves, and the dialogue's got like a nice flow to it. But there are just times when their dialogue feels, and it's actually not necessarily, it's not in this cutscene, but it is in some of the quests beforehand, where their dialogue feels so monotone and so just, they never break pace. It's just so flat and so monotone. And it's like, man, this is not how you write engaging dialogue. What's going on? I don't know what's going on. But that's another lesson they need to learn if they're going to be able to bring this, you know, these nice sort of tech innovations to bear on a sort of a successful, you know, new story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, imagine, you know, that bit when, I know they've cut it now because meanie words are bad, but you know when Garrosh is like, oh, clever bitch.
Watch your clever mouth, bitch.
That was it. Watch your clever mouth, bitch. And, you know, he's just being peak disrespectful and nasty to Sylvanas. And Sylvanas is just completely unfazed by him. I mean, you know, by him being a big, nasty, definitely going to be very evil, definitely a big sexist, definitely an absolute, like, Garrosh, total cunt. Total cunt. And Sylvanas is, like, completely unfazed because, like, I know my fucking plan. You big, preposterous, silly man. Yeah. And it's like that scene worked because Garrosh had a quick temper, spoke in a, you know, not a nice way, and then Sylvanas spoke in her way and is conniving. And clearly Sylvanas is not fazed by his big display of, I'm going to use the sexist language, I'm going to be all powerful in you. And Sylvanas is completely unfazed. And she's evidently the person that has the real power in that situation. And it's like it's the pace between those two characters. There's like rhythm in that dialogue. It's not fucking flat. And then you sort of zoom forward to this and it's like, this is so flat and boring. Oh my God. So that's another thing.
Yeah. Are you trying to suggest that the cadence of one's speech is important for how they're come across in their dialogue?
Matt Lagan, we must move to the next segment of this stream. For the stream!
For the something.
Oh, it's, man, I guess that's just it. I really want to see if they can fix up their dialogue. Just how they write it, how it's delivered and stuff like that.
Indeed.
I think a character like Pelagos is basically completely fucking murdered by his delivery.
And also the fact that most of the story was in Macarian, but only. But, yeah.
So.
Indeed.
Yes. Right then, for the Streamlands.
For the Streamlands.